Hey guys, welcome to another video, and in this video we are going to talk about static call and dynamic call. So there are various questions which is being asked related to static and dynamic call, which are how to call a COBOL program via another COBOL program, what are call literal and call identifier, what do you mean by static call and dynamic call, how to identify the static and the dynamic call by seeing the code, how to pass data from one COBOL program to another COBOL program, what is dynam and nodynam, and what if we can, like if we compile the program statically and call it dynamically, or vice versa. If we say if we are trying to compile a program dynamically and we call it statically, what may happen? So let's get started, and I'll start writing a basic COBOL program. So we will try to write a program wherein we will use a file which will have some value, and this program will call another program, and that program will perform some action on that file data. So in this scenario what we are going to cover is we are passing the data from this program to another program, and then we are calling another program from this program. So these are the two scenario we are covering. Another thing, what is call literal and call identifier, we will see that, and dynam and no dynam, what are these things we will see. So let's say program ID, program 1. Okay, environment division, input output section. Okay, here we have file control. Let's say we will say select in file assigned to input dd. So this is logical and physical file name. Now we will define the data division. Under data division we have file section. We will say fd in file, and let's say this is group variable, and we have, let's say, variable 1, and it is of pick 9 of 2, let's say 05 variable 2, pick 9 of 02. Alright, now we will define working storage section. Under working storage section, however, we can use these variables only, but since we are performing some action on this, so these variables, so we are good to define this as working storage also. So this is ws group variable, and I will copy these two after this, and here I would say ws variable 1, ws variable 2. Okay, now we will define procedure division. Under procedure division, first what we have to do is we have to open the input file. So I will, like, we will say open input file name. So this is the first thing we will write. Then we will perform a read on this file. So read in file, however, we can define here file status and blah blah things, but since it is a basic program, so we will go with read in file statement only. So here I'll say move variable 1 to ws variable 1. Okay, then move variable 2 to ws variable 2. Then we will say we'll try to display it, okay, what value we are getting. So let's say variable 1 is, and we will say var1, and we will say display var2 is, and here var2. Now we will perform a call of program 3, or let's say program 2. We have program 1 and program 2. So using ws group where, okay, so we are calling this program 2 using this group variable. Okay, and after that we will say, so once control is going into program 2, we should know whether it is coming back to program 1 or not. So we will say, we will use a display statement here. We will also returned into program 1. Okay, and once it is done, we will close input file. So we will say close in file, and we will say stop run. So in this program, what we are doing, this is a simple program. We are just reading the input file which we are passing through JCL, and we have the value in these two variables. We are moving those values into working storage variables, and we are calling another program using these working storage variables. So now here, if you see, if we talk about call literal and call identifier, so when we say call and direct this program name, this is call literal. Okay, we are calling, and this program name, this is call literal, and it is usually comes when we call our program statically. So when someone asked in the interview, how do you identify by looking at the code whether the program is being called statically or dynamically? So if after call statement, if the program name is written directly instead of working storage variable name, that is static call. So here it is a static call, and here if we say call ws or some variable name using this, then that will be the dynamic call. We will see that later, but as of now this is the static call because we are directly calling a program using a program name only, and it is also known as call literal. Okay, now we will write the program 2 which will perform some action. So let's say as program 2. Okay, so here I would say ID division, simple. Program ID is program 2, and however environment division, however it is not required to mention environment division here because we are passing the data through linkage section. So we will say under data division we will define working storage section, and here we will define only one variable, let's say ws total, and here we will say pick 9 of 04. So we will try to add those two values which we are getting from program 1. So here we will have to define linkage section. So this is the answer of another question, like how we can pass the data from one program to another COBOL program. So it is like we have to use like using a statement, call program name using some variables we can put there in main program or calling program, and this is called program 2. Here under linkage section we will have to define that define those variables which is being passed in program 1. So I'll say linkage section group variable here, and here we will say ls var 1, and here pick 9 of 02, and I will repeat it here 2, and now procedure division. So under procedure division we will have to do one thing. If we are in calling program, we need to receive those variables which is being passed from calling program 1. So here procedure division using ls group variable. So here what we are doing is we have passed the data from program 1. There we have mentioned call program 2 using ws group var. So we are calling program 2 using those variables, to be more specific using the value which those variable holds. So those values will be picked up in these respective variables, which is defined under called programs linkage section. So here whatever action we are performing under procedure division, we are performing those using the value which is being held in these variables under this group variable. So here we have written procedure division using ls group variable. Okay, so first we will try to display whether our control is coming here or not. So we will say starting program 2 execution, and then simple compute statement, compute ws total equal to ls var 1 plus ls var 2, and here we will say display total is and ws total, and here we have choice to use an exit statement or go back statement. Both does the same. So here if we use exit, the control will exit from this program and it will go back to program 1. So here if we use stop run, what will happen? The control, like the execution of the program, will terminate here. The control will not go back to program 1. So here either we can use exit or we can use go back. Okay, so in this case I am using exit. So now we have our two programs. In program 1 we are reading one file, we are holding some value in variables, and we are calling program 2 using those variables, and in program 2 we have defined procedure division using ls group variable, linkage section group variable. So these variables will hold the value which is being passed from program 1, and we are just doing a total. This is a typo, excuse me. So it's just we are doing the total and we are displaying the total. Once once control is end here, if you see, after this call statement we have display returned into program 1 and we have closed the in file. So we have few of the answers, like how we can pass the data from one program to another program, how to call a COBOL program via another COBOL program, and if we see this dynam and nodynam, static and dynamic call, now it comes into the picture. So since it is a static, is like we are calling a program statically, and so we will try to compile it first. So here I have the compiler, and under compiler we give some of the options here, and if we put option like no dynam, sorry, typo, no dynam, so it is like the default option. If we don't give, it will be considered as no dynam only. But in case of dynamic call, if we are compiling a program and we are compiling that program as dynamically, in that case dynam option should be defined, because that is not default, right? So in a static call it is not required, so I'll remove it. And here this is program 2, we will compile the program 2 first. Okay, I'll delete this, this is not required. Okay, so I'll submit this. So it is maxcc12. Let's say what I have done wrong. So quickly we will go here, we will go here. So okay, if you see in line number 9 we have 02 was not a valid combination of picture string. Same message on line 10. Okay, you'll see. Okay, here we need to put 9. Okay, so this is the mistake, this is the typo which we have created. We will save it anyway, and we will try to submit this again. So maxis is 0. So I would like to show you one thing here. Under load lab, if you see, we have program 2. Alright, this is the load of program 2. Now what we will do is we will compile program 1, and under link edit we will use program 2 and this program 1. So here what we are doing is we have not changed anything here instead of program name. Okay, so we are compiling program 1, that too statically only. We have not used dynam option in compiler, and in link edit. So like what does link edit do? It is like we are combining the load of program 2 and program 1, so it will be present in one load only. So if you see this control card, it will like we have included the program 2 and entry should be made in program 1. Okay, and we will try to submit this job. Okay, so max cc 0. Here if you refresh, we have program 1, and if we see it, and we will see whether it is like it is correct or not. I'll try to show you that as well, that how to identify whether the load is present in program 1 only or not. Okay, now I will try to show you the JCL I have already written. So it is just a simple JCL wherein I am using I'm executing program 1 at step 1. I have given the load library here, and we have the input file. Okay, I'll show you what is there in the input file. And the input file, it contains just 1 2 3 4. So it is like group 1 will WS working storage group with these has two variables. It will have 1 2, and variable 2 will have 3 4, and under program 2 these two values will be added and the output should come as 46, right? So now I'll come back here and I'll just submit this. So max cc 0, I'll quickly go into here and you will say, see, variable 1 is 12, variable 2 is 34, and starting program 2 execution, which means control went into program 2 and it has become the total as 0046, and the program came back into program 1, the control came back into program 1. Now if you see, if we have logically what happens now, if our load is present in one single load module, like if program 1 and program 2 both the load are present in a single load, under program 1 we have do the linked edit, right? So if you see here in program IBM user, in so if you see here, it contains the load of program 1 and program 2. How to identify? We will delete this load. From load library I have deleted program 2, and now I will try to execute this program again. Okay, see here, this is the job name IBM user A, and this is the job ID. I'll just do the SJ and I'll submit this. So this program was compiled statically, max cc 0. This is the latest one execution, and the output is same, right? Output is same. So it is like the program was compiled statically, program was called statically, load was present in a single module. That's why it did not impact when we deleted the second load module, the subprogram's load module. Program 2 load module we have deleted, still it is working fine, right? So we have the answer. If we delete the second load module, after link edit, even then it will work fine under static call. Another thing is like when to compile or when not to compile, and those things comes into the picture. We will see if you say I have made program change in program 2. Okay, I'll say hi cop, and let's say I have deleted this line. Okay, ZF, ZL, and here program 2. So I have made the program, I made some changes in program 2. Now if I compile it, so what should I compile, program 1 or program 2? So in this scenario, if you see, we have made a change in program 2. Okay, if we compile only program 2, let's do it. So this is program 2, and here we are not okay. So we are not doing the link edit as of now. So I've just submitted the job. Will it solve the problem? Will it solve the problem? No. Why? Because when our program, okay, I'll not say it will do or not. Let's execute the program. Okay, in this case, that statement, display statement, should not come, right? I'll do the submit. Max is 0. I'll go into this, see, this is starting program to execution statement is still there. It means we have recompiled program 2 after making the after making the changes, but still it is not in effect because we have recompiled only program 2. Since the program is being called statically, we have to compile program 1 also, right? So same thing, we have to do program 1 compilation and the link edit. So I have submitted the job, max cc 12 it is. Why? We will see. Okay, duplicate member present in library. So what I have to do, I have to delete program 1. In this case, however, it will replace if we do it, some option should be there, or if we do it via tool also, it should be replaced. I'll just quickly submit it. Alright, max is 0. Okay, but if you see, we have done the link edit again, we have recompiled the program 1 again, and program 2 we have recompiled previously. Now if I submit this, it will complete with written code 0, but the output will be, it doesn't have that execution statement, right? So it's like if you make any changes in program 2 in subprogram, that means you have to recompile program 1 and program 2 and do the link edit if you are doing it via static call, right? Now we come to dynamic call. Okay, so here in program 1 we will make a little change. Under working storage section we will say ws program, let's say pick x of how it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, x of 0 8, value is what, program 2. Okay, and here instead of using this we will say call ws prog using this. Okay, so in this case if you see this call and the name of the variable, it means it is the call identifier. It is being used, the variable is being used because we are calling the program dynamically, and of course we will have to compile it dynamically. So by looking at the code, how you will identify if the program is, if the call statement is being made using the variable name, it means it is a dynamic call. Here in this case you can see the variable contains the value of the program 2, so it is a dynamic call, and under program 2 there won't be any sort of changes. Okay, so program 1 is edited, program 2 is as it is. We have the dynamic compiler excuse me. So here if you see we have program 1. Okay, under compiler we have used the option dynam, that means we are compiling the program dynamically, and under link edit we don't have anything, so we have not used the control card. Now I'll submit this program 1. It'll fail. Okay, it'll fail because the load is already present. Okay, so it is completed with 0 0. Okay, might be because we have compiled it with dynamic call, that's why it got completed. Now program 2 also we will compile through dynam option, so I believe it will also be replaced. maxis is 0. Now we will go again here in this job. Okay, program 1 we will call program 1, and here it is hi JCL, and we will submit this. IBM user A is submitted, maxis is 0, and this is the latest execution. Okay, it has the value as expected. Okay, it has the value as expected. Now how to believe that these both are independent, right? Okay, before that we will see if we make program change in program 2. Okay, let's say if I edit it and I do this display statement, add display statement here, starting program 2. Okay, so here I have added one starting program to display statement. Now what if I compile only program 2? Okay, only program 2 if I compile, will it be sufficient? Yes, it should be sufficient. So it is maxcc 0 and I'll go here, I'll do sogesial and I'll just do a submit. Okay, job 6850 is completed with maxcc 0. 6850 is this. So here in sysout, if you see, the starting program 2 statement is here. So this answers are another question, which is if we make any changes in subprogram in case of dynamic call, do we need to recompile the whole program 1 and program 2? No, it is not required. Only the program which has been changed is required to recompile. Okay, now how to believe that this load module has only one thing. It has the load module of program 1 and this member has load module of program 2. So like we have done it in static call, we have deleted the program 2. We will try it now with dynamic call. What happens? Okay, so we'll say sogesial and we'll just submit. So it is abandoned. See, abandoned 06. If you see what it is under sysout, if you see the module program 2 was not found, that means there will be independent load module for each program if you compile the program dynamically, right? So I think we have all the answers, like how we can call a COBOL program via another COBOL program, what is call literal and call identifier, what is a static call, dynamic call, how to identify static and dynamic call by looking at the code, and how to pass the data from one COBOL program to another COBOL program, and another one was what is dynam and nodynam option. So obviously it is related to compiler option, dynam and nodynam. Nodynam obviously is using for a static call, that is a default one. We don't need to define nodynam while compile the program. It will be considered as statically. If we define the compiler option, if we use it as dynam, then the program will be compiled as dynamically. In that case, independent load module will be created for each the program. Now the last one, what if we call a program statically and we compile that program dynamically, right? So in our scenario, we have already compiled the program dynamically. We just need to compile program 2 because we have deleted the load module. Okay, so we have compiled both the programs dynamically, and program 1 here, if you see, we are calling that as dynamically. So let's say I will delete it. Okay, and here I'll say call program 2. So we are calling a program statically. Now I'll compile this quickly, program 1. So we have compiled this program 1 dynamically. We have used the static call statement under program 1. So now I will try to submit this job. What happens? Okay. So I've submitted it. It ended with MXCC 0. Okay, this is the latest execution, and it executed fine. Okay, so nothing happened, it went fine. Now vice versa as in, we will go here, we will quickly go here. Okay, and here we will say 01 ws prog pick x of 08 value program 2. Okay, and here I'll say ws prog. So here I'm calling this program dynamically, and let me delete those two components first. IBM user, from load library I'll delete both. Okay, now I will quickly compile it through static call. So first program 2, I'll submit maxcc 0, and now program 1, and we will, so here what we are doing the link edit as well. If you see, the control card is here program 2 should be there, and here program 1 should be there. Okay, so I have submitted this maxcc 0. So both the program are compiled statically, and under program 1 we have used a call statement which is calling program 2 dynamically. Here line number this. Alright, now quickly I'll just submit the job and maxcc 0. It went fine, we have the expected output, but okay, so we have all the answers, it is going fine, we have the execution, we have seen all the scenarios. Hope you like this video. Most probably what is happening in this execution when we are doing a cross compilation and calling, it's just the standard of static call and dynamic call. However, if you see the load module of in a static call, the load module of both the calling program and call program will present in like main calling program module, and in dynamic call there will be a separate load module will be there. So if we make any changes in case of dynamic call, we just need to recompile the program which has the changes. One question also being asked in the interview, if we have a copybook which is being used in 3 program, okay, if we like make change in the copybook, do we need to, which program we need to compile, right? So if it is affecting, if the copybook is being used in all 3 programs, all three programs should be recompiled again, right? So these sort of questions are being asked in the interview. So if you have any sort of doubt, if you have any other question related to static call, dynamic call, or you have any other question which you want to see as a hands-on, you can drop a comment. If you like the video, just give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next.